All right, welcome everybody to Island Writers Network's first open mic night of 2024. I'm Denise Spencer, who along with co-coordinator Kai Zavatsky, and sound man Barry Dixon. We're currently responsible for making sure this happens every month. So how many of you are here for the very first time? Yes. Good for the newbies. Okay, so those who are unacquainted with the Island Writers Network should know that our members are writers. Surprise, surprise. Who support and inspire and mentor other writers both in the business and the craft of writing. Our members write in all genres, and our new tagline is "We Champion Writers." So, if you're looking for such a group, you found us. On the tables are some cards which include some information about open mic, but also our website address so that you can find additional information about membership and events that we put on. And you'll also find Kai's email address should you wish to participate in open mic in the future. Please note that moving forward, open mic will be the last Wednesday of the month. As TIOS has had to make a change, we learned this yesterday. So last night, Kai was busy modifying our table cards. Go, Kai.
I thought you needed an editor.
No, that was a last-minute change, so she helped us out a lot. Upcoming events include our general membership meeting on Monday, February 5th at 5:45 in the community room of the Island Rec Center. And this month's program will be a panel discussion on editing. So you can see we have a variety of things, different topics that we have every month. Our next open mic, again, is the last Wednesday of the month, February 28th at 6 p.m. here at TIOS. So, the evening is planned to go like this. Kai will call upon the readers, will call upon you to come to the microphone and read. Each reader will have a total of 5 minutes, at the end of which a bell will sound if the recitation is not complete, and the reader will be expected to stop, lickety-split. In the middle of the evening, we will have a musical interlude from a group that belongs to the Jammers, an organization supporting and encourage local musicians in the same way that the Island Writers Network supports local writers. At the conclusion of their selections, Kai will continue introducing readers, and our final performance will be from our featured reader of the evening, Elizabeth Robin. Featured readers are published writers who generally will bring at least one of their books for purchase, making it possible for you to keep the joy of the evening going even after you go home. So make note of that. Give our readers and musicians your rapt attention. Support TIOS in gratitude for welcoming us here, and support our featured writer and all the local writers you can. We hope you have an amazing and enjoyable evening. Take it away, Kai.
Hi everyone, I'm so happy that you're here. This has been a long time coming. I'm going to introduce the readers. You may not all like your order because Mr. Eric Johnson will be number 1. Surprise, surprise. And yes, and the reason he's number 1 is because he is our IWN moderator. And that is another way to say he's our president. our master, our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful man who helps us get through everything, and is a problem solver. Okay. Okay, wait, not done.
Not done?
Okay, I'm sorry, sit down. Okay, I almost forgot the most important part. Okay, Eric is a New Jersey transplant who lives in Bluffton with his lovely wife, Gwen. He writes novels about personal journals and redemption, usually set in his hometown of Philadelphia. He reveals that he has taken up poetry to overcome an addiction to Judge Judy reruns and Wavy Lay's potato chips.
Okay, so had I known that I'd have to be first at these, I would have never accepted the moderator position. Nobody wants to go first, but. Okay, that'll work. This is a poem about my maternal grandfather, who I never got to meet. He passed away a few years before I was born. And for you jammers, it's going to sound like he's a bit of not a music lover, but that's because my grandmother, her dream was to somehow get to Broadway or Harlem or wherever she could get. She was a pianist, and she was born and raised in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and she was just part of that boardwalk empire era. She was born in 1898, I think, and she, I'd hear bits and pieces about her life, like they'd say, oh yeah, mother used to play in theaters to accompany boxing matches. And she had to leave during the Jack Johnson, there was a riot. I'd say, oh really, tell me more, and then they'd stop. And her life was full of little things like that. And part of it was her husbands. In an era when there was like a 1% divorce rate, she had 3 husbands. And my mother wasn't entirely pleased with that, but she ended up being a music instructor, a piano instructor in Philadelphia, and she was the house pianist for Chew Funeral Home in South Philadelphia, if anybody knows that. But this is a poem I wrote for her second husband, who my mother called Daddy Jerome. My little brown girl dances round and round, and round and round again. Her sassy eyes look just like mine. Tiny hips sway to the beat, ragtime. Used to put her on my shoulders, walk the boardwalk promenade. Bought her saltwater taffy and sweet, pulpy lemonade. Her mama up and took her far away from me, so she could let long fingers prance across them ivory keys. Mother's got you dancing round in the stage's magic glow. Your hair tied up in pigtails, face blackened, minstrel show. I can see you sitting by her feet, watching pictures flash upon the screen, big black fighters punch and sweat, white folks holler and scream. I just can't seem to reckon why your mama ran from me, grinding hard in honky-tonks to get what I gave for free. She traded mixing bowls and aprons for a life of clefs and staffs. She wants you now to follow on her Chitlin circuit path. Before I close my eyes to sleep, I watch the tide come in and pray the deep green rolling waves will bring her home again.
I'm only back because, don't worry. Mike, is that better? So, so now, so that she can get her reading accomplished while she's fresh and can focus on her MC work for the rest of the evening, let's welcome Kai Zubatsky to the microphone. A resident of Bluffton, she's a member of IWN, co-coordinator of Open Mic events, and contributor to the Hilton Head Poetry Trail. She is working on publishing her poems and short stories under the title Cattywampus, Slightly Askew in the South.
Thanks, Denise. Can you hear me back there? Okay. I wanted to take these two poems tonight to read, mainly because it's about similar subject matter, but it's looked at in an entirely different way in both poems. And I think that it's fun to do this. Poets often find that diversity around many different objects. So the object that these two poems is about red lipstick. A black cloud cracked. Its insides dropped hard. Delicious puddles pooled. No boots came out to play. Mama died at the bottom of the stairs last night. Her body twisted, awkward, eyes opened wide like my doll. The dog licked her face. Large, thick-legged ladies pulled me away. I fled to the kitchen, Mama's beloved sanctuary. Her yellow cup, a ruby lip imprint on the rim, sat next to a filled ashtray. The gooey red smear left just for me. Stained fingers held burnt offerings. Black Joe in a yellow cup. Communion coffee. Pen crosswords, morning prayers. The gooey red smear, a blessing. My little finger removed precious ruby from the edge. Sometimes I begged her, please paint my mouth. She whispered, you're too young, sweet girl. That morning, I did not feel young or sweet. I took her lipstick that was on my finger and scrubbed it on my lips. Sanctification complete, sealed with holy wax. Okay. Okay. This next one's a little bit different than that one. I'm sorry, it's a little more roast, but this one might not be any better. I don't know. Okay. This one is called Mistaken Identity. Red lipstick, seducer of hapless men. Powerful, bold, shocks, mocks, defiant, self-reliant. Maryland's personal shade, rouge diabolique. 5 coats she applied that lied about red algae, blood mud, and fish scales. Old cosmetic fails. We've come a long way from 5000 BC. Pardon Elizabeth Arden, tubes of ruby passed along the Ave, suffragettes to have. Their lips proclaim, name, shame, tame, misogynist men. Red lipstick, scarlet harlot, tempter, trickster, lured men, cast a spell, burned at the stake, no mistake. A Jezebel's fall from grace, sex on her face. Hitler hated sanguine shrews, pouty lips, plump hips, sway, pray for a hallelujah hit. Intimidation, emasculation, Aryan purity, his insecurity. World War II. Images burned, Rosie the Riveter curled her arm, no ordinary girl, Lips tinted garnet, we can do it. Military kits issued, a tube of cherry to fight an adversary. Hypnotic, patriotic. Red lipstick, harmless grease or sexual release. Superhero or supervillain. Back again, not to read a poem, but to introduce our next reader, which is our beloved sound man, Barry Dixon. He is our resident humorist. Just so you know, he is a convicted felon. He learned to write in Leavenworth. If you hear an alarm during his reading, don't worry, that's just his ankle bracelet. Barry.
I'll do a special mic check for you. Good.
And you thought you knew me. So, beginning all these emails going back and forth and Zoom meetings and everything, and that means it's time for a new anthology. IWN is going to put out an anthology. It'll be ready by the fall, we hope, and it'll be a great Christmas gift for everybody. And it got me looking back at some of the older anthologies that we put out, and looking at my own stuff, of course. Here are a couple of the Island Writers Network anthologies. This is the real deal, folks. There's some terrific stuff in here. And I found my own, and I'm going to read two. I put together a 5-minute reading of 2 readings from these anthologies. This first one was from Reflections, which was 2 years ago. And this first reading is from a manuscript I have out there. Is a collection of micro-memoirs, just little incidents from life, unrelated to each other, 2 or 3 pages, and they all come with a date. And this one is called Happy Birthday, Dude. May 2011. Vince, I keep telling you, you can't just come up with a poem on command. Come on, Dixon. One little poem for my birthday. Sorry, nothing personal, my friend. It just doesn't work that way. I rode the commuter train with this gang nearly every day. There was the Grand Central crowd, to which I belonged, and the Wall Street crowd, to which Vince belonged. We had all become friends over the years, but those Wall Street traders, oh boy, they could be tough. The next day, he started in again. This was 4 days in a row. Hey, Barry, come on, whip me up a poem for my birthday. How hard could it be? You a poet or not? And the next day again. Hey, poem guy, you got my birthday poem yet? Tomorrow's the big day, buddy. Better get on your horse. I thought, enough already. This was more than a week. Okay, you want a poem for your birthday, Vince? I'll give you a poem for your birthday. All right, Barry. I knew you'd come through, buddy. He held his hand out his palm for me to slap, which I did. Friday, May 14th, 2011, Vincent C's 43rd birthday. Hey, Barry, he said, you got it? Yes, sir, Mr. Vince. I got your poem right here. For the guy on the train who kept saying, whip me up a poem for my birthday. You are older now than you were when you started this line. You have less time left than you did this morning. You are not as young as you used to be, or as old as you are about to be. The closer you get to the end of this poem, the closer you get to the end of your life. Happy birthday, dude. My poems have appeared in some pretty good journals and reviews over the years. Add to that a wastebasket on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Thank you. The next one is from this, which is one of my favorite of all our anthologies. It's it's 3 or 4 years ago, I'm not exactly sure, but it's called Ebb and Flow. And these are available, by the way. You can get them somehow. I don't know exactly how. But this poem appeared in there. This poem is pre-Kathy, before I met Kathy. But it's also a bit of a memoir. Is there such a thing as a memoir poem? I don't know. Yet another, if I had life to do all over again poem. First, I would shut up more. I discovered one cannot talk and learn at the same time. Oddly, I could talk and listen, but it would always be me I'm listening to. And never once in all my life did I ever hear myself say something I didn't already know. This time I will not leave the hospital early the day my mother dies, just because I'm feeling fidgety. I will be there when she goes to say goodbye to someone who thought all my ideas brilliant, all my jokes hilarious, and quote, Warren Beatty and Brad Pitt could only wish they had such a face, end quote. Most of us don't get more than one of those in a lifetime. Speaking of which, this time I will not let Lucinda Gluck go, just because I thought her ultimatum was too soon. Too soon for what, Barry? Too soon to be loved? Too soon to have a best friend for life? Too soon to go to bed every night with the smartest, most beautiful woman in Eastern Pennsylvania? Clearly it wasn't too soon to be an asshole. And if she ever reads this, I will be mortified. That's another thing I will do this time around. Be mortified more. This business of not doing because of what might happen creates a life lived in place. Before life can go somewhere good, it must first simply go. Like Yogi said, we're lost, but we're making good time. Thank you very much.
Our next reader is going to be Susan Diamond Riley. Susan is an award-winning author and editor. She has worked in the fields of publishing, journalism, and education in middle and high schools and college levels. She holds a Master's of Arts degree in children's literature from the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. And she is a member of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators and the South Carolina Writers Association and our own Island Writers Network. She is the author of the Delta and Jack's Mystery series, including the soon-to-be-released novel, She-Devil's Demise, as well as the popular Greetings from the Low Country blog. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. Can you hear me in the back? Okay, the soon-to-be-released Sea Devil's Demise. I have a couple of advanced copies. So I'm going to read to you tonight from this book. It's the fourth in the series, as Kai was explaining. And my books are historical mysteries set right here in the Low Country. And they are about a brother and sister from Chicago who have found a new home down here with their grandparents. And in this particular book, they attend the Tybee Island Pirate Festival, which I call the Savannah Pirate Festival here. Don't know if any of you have ever been to that festival, but it's filled with people that are pretending to be pirates for a day. So I'm going to read chapter 2 to you tonight, quick chapter. But in chapter 1, just to get you caught up, they attend this festival and they see a lot of people in character, behaving in interesting ways, but there's one girl in particular that catches their eye because she's acting particularly strange. And then Delta and Jax, the brother and sister, realize that they've seen this girl before. So this is chapter 2, Talking of Treasures. Earlier that day. Did pirates eat cheeseburgers, Pops? Jax took a big bite of his burger, dropping a pickle onto his plate as it slid from the bun. Pops chuckled. I doubt it, Jackson, but they probably occasionally had some beef. Their grandfather had been a college history professor before running the Island History Museum, so he was the man to ask if you wanted to know something about the past. Their diet at sea consisted more of fish and hard bread. If they were lucky, they'd get a hold of some citrus fruit, like oranges or lemons, so they'd avoid getting scurvy. What's scurvy? Delta asked. A disease caused by a lack of vitamin C, Tootsie said. Pops nodded. It was common among sailors and caused them to have sore arms and legs and bad teeth. It could even kill them. Yikes, if oranges have vitamin C in them, then it's a good thing I'm drinking an orange soda right now, Jack said, so I don't get scurvy. I doubt there's much real orange in that soda of yours, Tootsie said. Today was the beginning of the kids' week-long spring break, and the family had stopped for an early lunch in Savannah prior to the afternoon Pirate Fest. Keeping to the theme of the day, they had chosen the historic Pirate's House restaurant. From the look of things, they weren't the only festival goers here. All around them, families and couples dressed in pirate-themed clothes were enjoying a meal in the city's oldest building. First built more than 300 years earlier, the Pirate's House had once served as an inn for seafarers and had fast become a gathering spot for legitimate sailors and bloodthirsty pirates alike. Today, it banked on that history by serving as a popular themed restaurant, still boasting dark wooden ceiling beams, narrow hallways, and numerous small dining rooms. What are those pictures on the wall over there? Delta asked their server when she approached the table to refill drinks. The young woman, clad in a loose dress cinched with a laced corset, glanced at the row of framed paintings across the room. Those are some of the original illustrations from Treasure Island. Have any of you read that book? I read it for school a few years ago, Delta said. It's about a hunt for pirate treasure. That's right, the waitress replied. They say that Robert Louis Stevenson, the author, got his idea for the book right here at the Pirate's House. Remember how the book starts at an inn frequented by pirates? Oh, yeah. Jim Hawkins' mom runs the place, Delta said. That's where he meets Billy Bones and finds the treasure map. They say the ghost of Captain Flint still haunts this building, the waitress said with a wink as she moved on to another table. Ghosts and treasure maps, that sounds cool, Jack said as he stuffed a French fry into his mouth. I guess I should read Treasure Island. What are you talking about, Jax? Delta replied. You did read Treasure Island. Every class at our old school read it in 4th grade. Remember, the pirates take the kid Jim to a deserted island to look for Captain Flint's stash. Jack shrugged. I may have just skimmed it. You cheated yourself out of a fantastic story then, Jackson, Pop said. Just then, a commotion drew the family's attention to a corner of their small dining room, where a chain blocked a set of old stone steps, apparently leading down to an off-limits lower level. A server in knee-length trousers and a bandana on his head was calling down the stairs in a stern tone. Excuse me, but you are not allowed to be down there. Didn't you see the sign? Delta noticed a placard posted near the top of the steps. No admittance, rum tunnel, not open to the public. What's the rum tunnel? Delta asked. There's an old tunnel that leads from the pirate's house to the banks of the river a couple of blocks away, Pop said. They used to transport rum through it from the docks to the inn. Legend says that pirates would sometimes capture strangers here, give them too much rum to drink, and then carry them onto their ships through the tunnel. By the time the stranger woke up, he'd be in the middle of the ocean and have no choice but to be a pirate. Come back up here right now, the server called from the top of the steps. Ever so slowly, a girl about Delta's age ascended the stairs and appeared by the chained landing at the top. Dressed for the pirate festival, she had apparently decided to do some exploring. Where's the rest of your party? The server asked her. Me party? The girl replied softly. Yeah, where's your table? The girl stared at the young man and then glanced around the room wide-eyed as the other patrons watched. Funny, Delta thought. I didn't notice anyone walk down those steps, but I guess I was distracted by Treasure Island. Well, head back to your table and stay away from these stairs, the server said, unhooking the chain to let the girl enter the dining room. We don't want anyone falling and hurting themselves. The girl scanned the room and headed slowly out into the hallway, out of sight of the diners she left behind. Well, I suppose you two kiddos aren't the only ones who sneak into places you're not supposed to be, Pop said, raising his eyebrows. The siblings had a history of exploring, but always with the best of intentions. Let's finish up here and head over to the festival grounds, Tootsie said. I'll bet there'll be all kinds of excitement over there this afternoon. Tootsie's prediction had been spot on, and thanks to that peculiar girl from the rum tunnel, the excitement was just beginning.
Thank you, Susan. Our next leader is going to be my co-chair, and this is Denise Spencer. And she has an interesting little bio. She lives a double life. By day, she's a dynamic consultant to nonprofit organizations. By night, she is a mild-mannered poet and writer of micro-memoirs. She updates the IWN website and serves on our board. Welcome, Denise.
Okay, thank you, Kai. Can you hear me? Yes. All right, great. I have two short poems. The first one was in the last edition of our of Ripples, our collection that we're about to publish again. And it's about 3 years old. It's already dated, but here we go. Flabbergasted. Who else is flabbergasted at the language used today, crude and rude and simple, and 1,000 miles away from the persnickety descriptions and brilliant diatribes, discombobulated rhetoric that creatively describes the beef-witted quacker watchers and the pin-headed scalawags, nincompoops, slubberdigullions, and those who lollygag. Not enough attention is paid to mother tongue. The whippersnappers' shenanigans from gobbledygook have sprung. I'm flummoxed beyond measure at the malarkey that appears on the Twitter and the TikTok. It sets us back 100 years. The flibbertigibbet should skedaddle before things get much worse, and a kerfuffle from Cotswallop inspires additional verse. And this second one is called He. When we met, he was shy, ill-mannered, crude. He wasn't attractive. Some missing teeth and sad eyes. Uncertain parents, no silver spoon, no formal education. He had graduated from abuse to foster care. He was unadoptable. But there was something about him. We took a brief walk. I offered shallow thoughts. he pulled away. But he inhaled the fresh air, relaxed a little, and began to match his cadence with mine. Repeated walks, shared suppers, trust, and yes, love grew. He moved in, no suitcase. I filled the pantry and kept the woodpile stocked. He protected and cared for me, greeted me with joy, distracted me from worries, encouraged exercise. He touched me on the leg when it was time for bed. His back against mine, he reassured me of his presence. Love without conditions. We would just be. He never left the seat up. He never minded dinner from a can. He never complained. There was only one time that he did not offer comfort in my time of pain and grief. And that was when he left without me, and I will never be the same.
That poem was a hard one to make it through without crying. That was about her dear, precious little Walter. We're going to take a little bit of a break here while the jammers set up. We're going to be entertained by two lovely musicians, and I will introduce them after they get themselves more or less ready to go. Okay? Thank you.